You have children, Bill?
Huh? Yeah, I've got two. I've got a daughter that's 8 and a son that's 11. Both in school right now.
Well, it's a blessing and lucky to have a boy and a girl.
The American, American dream.
I'll go back from the poem, I guess. Perception is key. If you don't think about something, for instance, paradise in southeast Fresno, it cannot be. Wallace Stevens, a major light of 20th century poetry, specialized in perception. Check this out, it's called The Glass of Water. That a glass would melt in heat, that the water would freeze in cold, shows that this object is merely a state, one of many, between two poles. So, in the metaphysical, there are these poles. Here in the center stands the glass, and light is the lion that comes down to drink. There and in that state, the glass is a pool. Ruddy are his eyes and ruddy are his claws when light comes down to wet his frothy jaws. And in the water, winding reeds move round, and there and in another state, the refractions, the metaphysica, the plastic parts of poems crash in the mind. But Fat Jocundus, worrying about what stands here in the center, not the glass, but in the center of our lives, this time, this day, it is a state, this spring among the politicians playing cards. In a village of the indigent, one would still have to discover, among the dogs and dung, one would have to contend with one's ideas. In his poem, first he sets up the premise that any object is open to varied perception, and then, boldly and beautifully, he calls a lion to a watering hole, an image that may echo in glasses of waters for the rest of life. But he knows that most will never see the lion, will never hear the poetry, will never think about water, what they don't think about. Yet, although most will never think outside the bigness of their littleness, anyone can look beyond and conceive of Eden in Fresno. A few years ago, we went as a family to a week-long religious retreat at a mountain site with comfortable cabins, tasty, generous portions of food, good-hearted companions, swimming, games, and diversions. Very pleasant. But I left feeling ill at ease at what I felt was thoughtless pleasure. On our return, I wrote and gave this to the church. It said, "Have you considered what you like? This is important because how can you be satisfied if you don't know what you like? Here is a conception of sin that you may not have considered, to be wanting when you have enough. Think of your wardrobe. Are there clothes you never wear? Think of your garage. 1 car, 2, an ATV, a motorcycle, a pickup, a boat. Think of food. Meat daily, 3 meals a day, and snacks, dairy and poultry, burgers and fries at whim. Do you waste food? Why not dress for God, travel for God, eat for God? Ask God to guide you to take all you want, but not more. How could that be wrong when God has promised good to you? If you fill your closet with clothes you never wear, your garage with wheels you don't need, and your body with fat you never burn, then the thoughtless desecration of the world is your legacy." There was no answer or acknowledgement. They don't think about things they don't think about, is my guess. In any case, from an entirely different perspective, I had a dream recently. I'm standing with one of my children on the edge of a cliff, overlooking a wild, wind-beaten sea of deep blues and greens. Mighty waves break upon the land. There's a white spire of a lighthouse on an offshore rock, battered by the sea. Spume and spray hurled high into the air about it. Beautiful white birds skim the surface on long, graceful wings, sometimes climbing through the tossing surf to circle the lighthouse. Now, although I wouldn't know in a waking state, I'm sure in my dream when I say, those are petrels. They're the most beautiful flowers. Wouldn't it be fun to skim the sea like that? Oh, marvelous dream, for in the moment we are astride two birds, rising and falling with the waves. We shout and laugh back and forth, but the wind and the sea are roaring, and I have to concentrate to hang on. Then we are in the wild water at the lighthouse and the rock, and turn skyward in the tumult. We fly up and up and up, and I'm clutching for fear of falling back into the maelstrom, when I realize that I'm dreaming and relax. I fly higher and higher into wakefulness. Asleep or awake, it's sweet in Fresno this summer day. There are many who think you have to be crazy to enjoy Fresno in the summer, but I am not alone in saying that you would be a fool not to do so. Once again, we are talking perception, and I perceive it's time to close. With peace and love, Eric.